Hey family, so now we are told that the flood in Texas was caused by black and brown people trying to get rid of the white race. Yes, you heard that. I cannot make this stuff up. Many of the MAGA nuts, especially some of the white evangelical nationalists, believe in a conspiracy theory that we, black and brown people, somehow, along with the Jews, have manipulated the weather system. Yes, I'm not lying to you. And caused the flooding in the predominantly white area so that we can off white folk and then we can just have life without white folk. See, the problem is you think that the same hatred you have in your heart towards people of color reciprocates within the hearts of black people. And I keep telling you all, we don't have the same heart.
I don't know about you all, but something about this whole conversation doesn't sit right with me. We are watching a natural disaster turn into a full-blown blame game, and the targets black folks, brown folks, even Jewish folks, and anybody who's ever been hired under a DI policy. And it's not just ignorant, it's really dangerous. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Trending Pulse Worldwide, where we break down what's happening in the world, the truth, the trends, and the talk that everyone is discussing. My name is Amy, and today we are diving into the Texas floods, not just the disaster, but the mess that followed it, from wild conspiracy theories to outright racism. This one's gonna make you think twice. A few days ago, Central Texas was hit with one of the worst floods in recent history, and the whole neighborhoods were wiped out. Families lost everything. But instead of focusing on recovery and relief, some people have turned this tragedy into a circus. Folks online are blaming Black Americans, claiming it's a conspiracy to wipe out white people, and even targeting a black fire chief, saying DI hiring unalived people. So let's get back into the footages, see what people are saying, then I'll be back to break down the real story.
So it didn't take long for the MAGA white nationalists to blame black people. Whenever they have a chance, they'll blame black people, gay people, women. So the folks on the ground, the white men, are blaming a black fire chief for the disaster and the deaths in Texas. Yep. An all-white fire chief association is blaming a black fire chief. A Fox News pundit is blaming this black fire chief. Charlie Kirk is calling it another DEI hire that has resulted in tragic deaths. You guys want to know who they're blaming? The fire chief of Austin, Texas. Austin is 2.5 hours away from Hunt, Texas, the hardest hit part of the flood, where the Christian camp is located. 2.5 hours away. They're blaming a black fire chief. This is their effort, if you can't see it by now, to put only white, straight men in leadership positions, in power, accumulating all the wealth, and having everybody else work in menial slave labor type jobs. This is why education is being gutted. This is why DEI has been destroyed. This is why brown people are being deported. This is all of it. He must have been the closest black fire chief they could find, 2.5 hours away.
So an all-white fire chief association is blaming a black fire chief for the floods that happened in Texas. An all-white people are blaming a black fire chief for the floods in Texas. You're blaming the wrong color. The color you should be blaming is orange, and he's in the White House. All the blame should go to him. All of it. The nerve to blame anybody black. You had a chance to blame it on a black person, but you voted for someone who was orange, when you could have voted for someone who was black. Y'all said no. 77 million of you, plus the ones who didn't vote, plus the ones who voted third party. You could have blamed it on someone black, but you didn't. So blame it on someone orange. Blaming this on a black fire chief is insane work, nefarious work, nasty, nasty work.
Alright, let's deal with facts first. What happened in Texas was a result of a rare but natural weather event called a mesoscale convective vortex, and it's basically a slow-moving, high-powered storm system that dumped 4 months worth of rain in a single day. And this wasn't random because Central Texas is known as Flash Flood Alley. It's literally one of the most flood-prone areas in the US because of its terrain and how water flows through the region. No weather weapon, no secret storm button, no underground conspiracy.
What you are not being told by the media anywhere is that the death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI.
There's Charlie Kirk making yet another one of his patented despicable arguments. This time it's that the death toll in Central Texas would be lower from that flooding on July 4th if the fire chief in Austin wasn't black. Yeah, you heard him. He blames it all on DEI, but he never really makes that argument. Instead, it's about the race of the fire chief. And normally, I don't like to give oxygen to these kinds of trashy arguments, but I also think you've got to stand up and call out blatant racism when you see it. And to me, this is a perfect example. So Charlie's entire premise rests on the idea that this fire chief, who's been in office since 2018, didn't deploy enough resources ahead of time to allow Austin firefighters to go be part of the search and rescue efforts outside Kerrville. Now, there are some complicated issues going on here with reimbursements from the state for those kinds of deployments and also not knowing if they needed to keep those firefighters back in case the storm continued to cause issues in Austin. But it is worth noting that the city of Austin's mayor said he talked to state officials who told him that Austin went above and beyond with the resources it provided. Ultimately, though, I don't know all the ins and outs of this argument. I'm not intimately affiliated with what's going on with the Austin Fire Department, and I can guarantee you Charlie Kirk isn't either. Now, notice there was no mention from Charlie on warning sirens or whether state or local officials did their job there. Instead, he sees a black fire chief, and all of a sudden it is DEI rearing its ugly head, according to Charlie. No mention of that fire chief's 30 years of service in Atlanta, where he was chief of Atlanta Fire Rescue, or his master's degree, or that he graduated from Harvard's state and local government program. Instead, Charlie makes the assertion that some of those poor girls at Camp Mystic would still be alive today if only, say, the Austin fire chief weren't black. Absolutely despicable.
Now, let's talk about this DI drama. Some conservatives, especially Charlie Kirk, are saying that the black fire chief in Austin was a diversity hire and that he delayed rescue operations. And here's what actually happened. The fire chief's team said they weren't officially called in until after the storm already hit, and they deployed resources immediately when asked. Even the mayor backed him up. There is zero evidence that race or DI slowed down any emergency response. It's just another lazy excuse to attack black leadership. And we are watching something horrible happen in real time. People losing homes, losing loved ones. Instead of pulling together, we are watching a narrative being pushed that blames everyone except the actual causes. And first, it was the black fire chief. Then it turned into a racial conspiracy theory. Somehow, in 2025, people still believe that black people are the masterminds behind every major event that makes them uncomfortable. But the truth is, the storm was natural. The delays in response, that's about bureaucratic and infrastructure, not skin color. The targeting of black leadership isn't new. It's just louder now because folks need a scapegoat. So here's what I'll say as we close this out. It's okay to ask questions and it's okay to demand accountability, but when the conversation shifts from facts to fantasy, from weather patterns to race baiting, that's when we need to pause, because black folks didn't cause this storm, neither did DEI. Climate change and poorly funded infrastructure system and failure to prioritize prevention, that's where the focus should be. So guys, that was just my 2 cents. Let me know what you have to say about this conversation. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. And also don't forget to hit the like button, share this video so the truth reaches more people. Give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and thank you for sticking around with me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.